Well, I want to get into the mind of a fighter because
I swear I was just going to say that. Go ahead.
As we were talking prior to hitting record here, I really got into UFC thanks to my best friend at the inception. And then, my favorite rivalry still to date is you and Randy, who I think is just a wonderful guy. I've got to do 2 charity events with him, but I'm really
We're rooting for you, though, just so you know.
It's okay.
I don't know. I'll have to... Wait, did we root for Chuck or Randy? I'm pretty sure it was Chuck, right?
Just for safety reasons, say Chuck.
I'm pretty sure it was Randy, but we were on Chuck's side when he was against Tito. So.
Hey,
that's
Chuck,
true.
I've always been on your side,
We
bro.
were pulling against Tito for sure. So I'm sorry to put that on you, by the way.
It's okay. I'm friends with Randy, too.
Great guy.
I get it. You're friends with him. He's a good guy, and he's tough. I mean, I actually have my favorite picture I have of is right after I knocked him out, the first time I knocked him out.
Yeah.
It has a celebrity row, and it's everybody's mouth like that, except for Ice.
Really?
I got one fan. I got one real fan in Celebrity Row.
So how was it for you what did you do to really climb up to get noticed to even start participating in the UFC?
Remember, it was really different back then.
Yeah.
We talked about it all the time. I think when Lorenzo Neal used to go, why don't you fight in the UFC, man? Come on, I know you're a wrestler, you kickbox, you fight. I'm like, I don't know how you get in. Everyone talks about, I heard about tournaments, I heard about, hey, tell me how to get in, I'll try.
Yeah, right.
So I actually didn't get in. I got in, we'll get back to, I'll start from how I got into kickboxing.
Yeah.
So I was wrestling in high school and college. I'd done karate my whole life. And actually, I used to say, what really sucks, the thing I'm the best at, I can't get paid to do. I was talking about street fight.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's back in high school. So now we're going forward to, I was going to watch my buddy fight. Alfie Alcaraz was going to do a kickboxing show on Nick Blondgren's show. Nick's One Kick Nick's from Vegas. He used to put on shows, right? So I'm out there going to watch, and he comes over to me and he goes, "Hey, Alfie says you're pretty tough. You want to fight tomorrow night?" I'm like, "Sure, why not?" And I go and they go to have me weigh in. I'm gonna fight heavyweight or whatever, and they go, "So the commission guy, so how many fights you have?" I'm like, "None. I don't know. I'm just trying." They looked at Nick like, "What are you doing?" Like the guy was like 15-0 or something. Mm-hmm. I'm like. No, this ain't gonna happen, and I was actually disappointed. So Nick goes, "Hey, well, why don't you go home and train, and I'll come back and then I'll get you on my next show and put you on." Mm-hmm. And I was like, "Okay, cool." And by chance, I just ran into the week before that at John Hackelman.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
at Koi-Kon Dojo in San Luis Obispo. Like he was coming in. Someone called him in. Like he was coming in to spar with them, and they called me. I wasn't even training there anymore. They called me up to come spar with them. They needed someone to spar with them, so I'd come in. I spar with. We did some point sparring, some wall training, and stuff like that. And they're like, "Yeah." Afterwards, everyone's like, "Yeah, you kicked his ass. Yeah, good job." Like, I'm like, "What fight were you watching?" I didn't feel that at all. Like, I don't know about you. I mean, I really haven't had much trouble with the guy. And so John would give me his card, and then that right after that, I drove out to Vegas, and all that stuff happened with the fight. So on my way back, I got that card in my thing. It says kickboxing world champion. I'm like, perfect. And I'll go train with this guy. Mm-hmm, yeah. And he said, "Come train." So I went up to his house. I don't know if you've ever heard the story, but I went up to his house to go train. Mm-hmm. First time I trained, he became my trainer. Still my guy, but he was my trainer my whole career. I went up there to go spar, and it was him and his guy Jesus Sanchez was with us, and he timed it for us. We had an unofficial time for the round. We'll just do just boxing, give me boxing gloves, and I think he lent me a mouthpiece or a brown mouthpiece. But get in there, we start sparring. He beat the living piss out of me for 19 straight minutes. You know, I'm like, holy shit! I've never done just boxing, and I've never done just boxing sparring. So I've never done just hands, which really changes your distance and timing and changes a lot of things. But yeah, he beat, and if Jesus Sanchez wasn't there, I probably would have done it for a lot longer. But he's like, dude, can we just stop? I think he's tired of seeing me get hit in the head. And then after training with John for years, I guess it was impressive that I stayed up because everybody I've seen come in and spar with him like that got dropped.
Yeah.
So,
but you're on your feet. Stayed on your feet. Yeah.
So and then we started training. So you can come back tomorrow. And actually, it was funny. Afterwards it started raining, and I'd come up on a motorcycle. So I was about to get on the bike in the evening. He's like, "Hey, you come back tomorrow?" So yeah. Okay, here, just take my truck. Well, no, I'm fine. So like, push your motorcycle there, take my truck. Like, you come back tomorrow, right? So yeah. So he threw me keys to a brand new truck. Drove off, and came back and trained there we trained there about 6 days a week for a long time.
Right.
Until we opened the gym. So then we started doing other places too. But
so when did you go through like kickboxing?
So I started doing kickboxing. I did kickboxing for about 5 years. And same thing. Like I still people like when I was doing that, I was still like, why aren't you fighting in the UFC? Like I didn't know how to get in there. I don't know how do I change. How do I get in there?
Right.
So I get a phone call from One Kick Nick, and he goes, "Hey, Alfie says you're a pretty good wrestler. You want to fight a mixed fight?" Sure, why not? So I wind up going to Orleans, to Vegas to do an open hand strike fight, and they're supposed to have 3 fights that night on a kickboxing card. And I was supposed to fight some jiu-jitsu guy and whatever. But anyway, so the open hand, it was like open hand palms, like old pancras. But then by the time the fight started, the commission kept getting more and more nervous. You could only do like a slap with this part of the hand, and then you couldn't hit once you hit the ground. It was just wrestling. So by that time, I already trained for camp. We're already there. I'm like, okay, anything else you want to change right now? Like, any other rules you want to throw out there? Go. Yeah. But then we went out, and I wound up just slapping the guy and knocking head. If you ever see it, he goes head kick, and he just goes. Was one of those he folds in half, straight down. Yeah, it was out. And they actually, for some reason, I think they got nervous. They wouldn't let the other the mixed martial arts fights go on. I knocked them out so bad.
Because that one was pretty gnarly.
But I'm like, but if you looked at it, there was no wrestling. There's no groundwork. There's just me kicking the guy in the head. I mean, so it really just me slapping him in the face and kicking him in the head. So how's that different than kickboxing? Why did that scare you from the other mixed fights? I don't know. Unless you just feel those guys can't fight. I don't know.
There's a lot of screwy shit about that.
That's how I had some guy that was watching come up and go, "Hey man, you want to fight in the UFC?" Sure, yeah, I'd love to. So they invited me to fight in UFC 17, and I fought in UFC 17.